Metaphysician's Companion.
Hello, John. How are you today?
Hey, pretty good. And yourself?
Oh, yeah. I'm okay. Yep.
Lovely
Yeah.
winter's day.
Cool again, but yeah. Look, wrap up with it. It's fine. I mean, we are in Australia, and winters in Sydney are not like winters in the UK. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today, John?
Well, I was thinking we'd talk about perception, the nature of reality, and as opposed to perception of reality.
Yeah, but it's how you perceive something again, isn't that all going back to your education and how you've been brought up and the knowledge you've gained through that? I use the word knowledge, or how the influences of society have had on you. Wouldn't that affect the perception?
Oh, absolutely. I always think, like from psychology, I know that only about 15% of what enters your sensory apparatus gets presented for conscious attention. So that's 1/8 or something of whatever is going on around you gets presented for conscious attention. So you pay attention to what you have decided is important, and that's the priming is what it's called. Your perception is primed to look for certain things, and that's where all that cultural influence comes into play.
So if we were talking metaphysically, one would need to change one's perception from, in general terms, I'm talking about most people being brought up, you would need to change your perception to be able to accept those metaphysical knowledge and wisdom.
Well, it's definitely in terms of things like the energy field around the body, the aura. It's like I know when I started feeling that, it's not part of our culture.
Yeah, your perception was actually telling you something else.
Yeah.
Because of your inner. You don't like the word programming, but the inner programming that had basically been taught to you as a child and as you grew up, and society said.
It's all the unspoken stuff. Your body, your life, you end at your skin. And to be able to feel, we'll call it energy, the field around a person doesn't fit into the normal cultural framework.
So you could take that perception even further? For example, from the perception of meditation and having some perception in that alters your thinking. Would that be the right word? Perception can change the way you think and the way you view the world?
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's pretty heavy, that one.
Well, it's exactly what I mean. It is, for example, what is the nature of illusion? And an illusion is when you see something, but your perception of it isn't the thing itself. For example, a mirage in the desert. It looks like water. That's what you perceive. But what it is it's the light bending through the hot air.
And it's like the magician doing it. The magician he's actually using your perceptions to create an image that is not real, really.
Yeah. They do whatever they need to do to get you to think that something is taking place when in reality something else is happening. They sometimes use distraction so you don't even look at. They use that 15% filter thing.
Yeah.
So you're paying attention to a certain thing that they're doing quite openly, but because they've attracted your attention.
As they're sawing the woman in half in the box, but really they're not really sawing the woman in half in the box.
Yeah. So, to get back onto that, meditation and the like, is that by entering that state and somehow, in a way you're questioning your social adaptation. What society informs us is the truth, some inverted commas around that, about the world. It is.
So let's go back to our metaphysics. So if you want to, if you decide to, say, learn about metaphysics, you probably would have to change your perception on much of what you thought life and physicality was about.
Well, yeah, I was going to say absolutely, but I was going to say absolutely except. More seriously, curiosity. I always recommend curiosity. I saw it on bloke on YouTube. Have the courage to be curious. That is to say, I accept that a lot of the way that I see the world is prejudiced. And I mean, that biased is perhaps a better way of saying that. And that when I look at a new thing like metaphysics, I'm asking, how does this work? Is this true? Is this a good description? Rather than looking at it and dismissing it because it doesn't fit into my preconceived ideas.
So, to expand your perception, you need to, for want of a word, dump a lot of your pre-perceptions of life and how they should be.
Yeah, what do you do? Say, I don't know about dump them, but acknowledge that they are not absolutes, that it is a description that works to the extent that it does, and that if we're a bit curious and look behind the scenes, we may find that we can find something better.
So wouldn't it be that the word metaphysics, wouldn't that be another way of saying that nothing is absolute and that everything is for want of a better word, moving?
Oh, look, I mean, that's just like science. You see, science doesn't provide truth. Science provides explanations. And if you're truly engaged in science, this is the current explanation we have for these phenomena. And the true scientist doesn't say, sure, there's no such thing as auras. They go, not demonstrated.
And like science says, we just, for example, exploring, I'm just using it, it's not a truth I know of, but they say they're exploring a black hole somewhere and they find an anomaly in that black hole which changes the whole perception of space and time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at this. We do not have an explanation for this.
But this alters our thinking around this particular phenomena.
That's right. Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Yeah. You have to create a new explanation.
So metaphysics is the same, really. It's about experiential stuff on another consciousness level, which has been held back or shaped by one's perceptions of life.
Yes. Yeah.
So therefore, your perceptions of life, if you want to get into, say, metaphysics in a real way, you have to alter your perceptions of life and look at other things and try and experience other things that alter that perception. So you then come to the conclusion, from what I word, that experience is real.
Yeah. The thing that I did was, reading something, okay, this is a description of an experience or of, that's what it is. It's a description of an experience. And, the good old map is not the territory.
Yeah.
And go, okay, so what is it that it's describing here? It's the difference between, if I believe what's written, I don't really learn anything. The effort is the curiosity to investigate and go, does this really work? And that's what is the convincer that makes it real for me. Could
it be, or so we change that, does it really work for me?
Yeah, that's exactly.
I mean, in this, I'm talking metaphysics because that's our subject of cover. So if you enter metaphysics and try to learn, then you have to ask the question, if you have an experience, is that working for me? And is that a benefit to me to move forward and explore more?
Yes, absolutely.
So your, again, perception comes in here. You're altering your perception of your life through a new medium, in fact.
Yeah.
So with you, with the massage and whatever, with me, it was through various other things I've done, like healing. It was like the meditation I did on the point, and where I became just part of something. All that altered that in my perceptions of life, and then it's like a building block. You've had a new perception of life and where it should go, so you actually then build on that perception to take you further.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of metaphors. This is one of the things. Going back to like thinking about reading, is that I can read one book and go, "Geez, it doesn't speak to me," and I can read another book that's talking about the same thing, but it speaks to me because I find the meaning in it. The meaning isn't in the words; like the author has intended something. But I construct that meaning when I read it. And this is the little things like this that people don't think about that are really important.
Or like for example, I've written about an experience that I had, and I've outlined the step-by-step stage of that experience. But what I've included in that is the actual happening to me that caused me to, what's the word I'm looking for? Caused me to write down the experience in a practical way.
Yeah.
So the experience came first, and then I looked at the experience and said, okay, how did I get there?
Yeah.
What is the best way to get there? So if I was telling somebody else about the experience, what I would say, oh, I had this experience, blah, 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 blah. This will happen to me. But it happened to me not just because I had an experience, it's because I did this, and this before that. So my perceptions were being altered on a slow but steady change.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's learning.
It is, well, it's learning. So no, it's what the brain does. So the brain accepts those perceptions that are happening. So if you have a new perception, it creates a new thing for you. Then if you accept it and then you work with it, it can change things. Now, the next question is that really an illusion?
Is it an illusion? The real thing for me is it's not an hallucination. And I think it's a very important distinction to make. Hallucination is when you see something, it's in your perception, but there is no corresponding thing in physical reality, or any kind of reality for that matter. That's an hallucination. It's in my head.
Yeah, but then somebody might say that what you're experiencing metaphysically is an hallucination.
Okay, the experience, again, I find it very important to be clear on the words that we're using. And this is part of the construction of meaning. And you're always talking about experience. You say it all the time.
Yes.
And what you're telling me is that this isn't something that somebody told you that you're thinking about and pretending is the case, or let's say imagining is the case. This is something that you've maybe heard about or maybe found for yourself, lying by the side of the road, and you've picked up and gone, what is this? And I will investigate it. And you put yourself into it. You get what I mean here? This is experience.
It's like you and your motorcycle accident where you came off your motorbike and was thrown in the air and crashed on the ground, and you left your body for a while and whatever, and then you went back, and that now has become an experience for you to help you question further.
Yeah, like I had that experience, the out-of-body experience, and it's like, whoa, something is different. It's like, going back to the cultural thing, I put it out of my mind at first. I just dismissed it like it's a dream, but it was not a dream. It was an experience. And it's like, I cannot comment on your experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, You can explain the how to get to it, and I can follow your guidelines, and then it will be my experience. Yeah, and I have made that meaning, I've made that connection by listening to you or reading what you've written. Yeah, because these are the signposts on the way. But it's for each one of us to tread that path ourselves.
Well, everybody's a little bit different,
Yeah.
for example. But then again, other people may want to influence your experience. I mean this in a nice way. For example, my father, when he passed away, and I was in this dark room, and he decided to sit across in the chair from me. It was him projecting himself there, so I could have that experience.
Yeah.
So so somebody could say, "Oh, you were just imagining it," but I didn't know he was going to die that night.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I mean about.
Yeah, and so that he was sitting in the chair, looking at me, basically saying goodbye.
Yeah.
And that was an experience that's never left me, because you cannot forget something like that, quite frankly. But it was him leaving his consciousness and coming to say, "Hey, I'm on the way out," for want of a better word. So again, he was saying to me, I guess what he was trying to say to me, this is not just it, Graham.
Yeah.
There is more to life than just physical life. I am just projecting myself to you to show you that there's more than physical life, an experience I had. And I didn't take it on board initially, but these things accumulatively have a profound effect on one.
It's actually a very good example for what I'm talking about. Is I cannot deny your experience.
Yeah.
Right? You've had an experience which you're relating to me. I could sit here and go, "Oh, that's just an hallucination," but I don't really believe that. I believe that it may be an illusion. Not that you did. We say you had the experience, and it was his influence. This is how you perceived it. I don't know, maybe he wasn't there in the normal sense we talk about being here, but you perceive, this is your perception of what was going on in your experience.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? It's a very important distinction to make.
Well, it was a dark room, and this image just appeared.
Yeah.
So for me, that was an experience. Now, what one makes of it is anyone's guess.
What caused your, what was the seed of your experience? The stimulus.
Stimulus, yeah.
Yeah. I believe was your father. What you saw, this is what I'm talking about, making meaning for the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that you saw him. That's you making meaning in that experience. This is how I understand it. This is not necessarily truth.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Yeah.
Well, because we're talking metaphysics here, and we're trying to share with people information and knowledge that may help them, and so we're just relating our own experiences. Really, is what we're really doing, but we're trying to put this particular subject into some form of context. I think into the metaphysical point of view, and how things develop and how things can change by an experience, and it's what you do with that experience you get, whether you accept it or not. And we talked earlier about how perceptions of life are different because you were educated or have been taught
the bias.
You've got your biases, so you question it.
Yeah, I think that the big message that I would be giving out there is, do not just discard your experiences out of hand for the reason that they are not normal. Normal is only what is conventional, and there's a lot more in the world than what is conventional.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's about it.
I think so. I think we've.
Well, I hope you understood that, listeners. But it went from woe to go, I think. But yeah, I hope you found that interesting. I found it interesting because we were going back and forth trying to really try and, that's the word I'm looking for here, not consolidate, but give you
Oh, clarify.
clarify. Yeah, maybe that's whatever. But it's a clarification from our own individual experiences and why we moved the way we have.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you very much for listening. And that's it for today. If you want to leave a comment, please do on Spotify or YouTube. You can do that. Or you can send us an email.
At metphyscompanion@gmail.com. That's METPHYS companion@gmail.com.
Thank you again for listening, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, bye from me.
Bye from me.